No.
No, there was. What?
I was eating because you've left me dusty.
There's sausage and stuff in here.
All right, so you made it. You made it to the end, right? I'm gonna just say it's the end. Now, what are we gonna do from here? First, I'm gonna break down one of my favorite deals, and I'm gonna kind of show you how Grandma Susie actually gets paid on these, how you get paid, how your lender gets paid, how easy it is. Flipping land has changed my life entirely. And I think that you can just get so much value from it, not just being someone that can truly understand the space, the niche, but also being able to help sellers, being able to help buyers. You can just help so many people. And the more mouths that you feed, the happier that you're gonna be. So let's talk about this awesome deal that I had, okay? I was kind of new, still am. We're all inexperienced, no matter how many years we've been in the game. I found a lead. This property had two really cool lakes on it. It was in South Carolina and had a little main road. Seller, 89 years old. Seems to be a trend. I'm gonna say 89. 89-year-old little feeble woman. She was amazing, really, really sweet. But on the phone, you know, after about 10 minutes of rapport, kind of telling her what I'm trying to accomplish, I'm just looking for land in this area, and I love the idea of having like water and some topo, just some really beautiful land. She was like, you know what? I actually don't want to talk to you anymore. Nothing against you. It's just that like I'm very exhausted talking about all this. So I'm gonna patch you through to my son-in-law. Son-in-law lived in Atlanta. He called me the next day and said, look, I know you're trying to buy this property. I have my floor on what I can sell it for. I know the price. I just want to get the deal done. Where are we at? So I had to start the whole process over with him. We built a ton of rapport, and he said, okay, I'm going to sell it to you for $110,000. And, you know, we came to that point at like a little bit of going back and forth. I said, you know, I don't know how much wetlands there are, how much floodplain. In order to move it quickly, let's just come up with a really, really good price to get it done. So I had no idea about this area. I was totally inexperienced, and I was like, what am I going to do here? I thought it was just 15 acres. So I thought that was a pretty decent deal. You know, it was all right. 15 acres with a couple ponds, 110K. The market was saying that it was worth like 200,000. So then I talked to a couple people. I called the county and told them what I was trying to do. I called my attorney, kind of gave him the contract, because you know the next step in this process, we go ahead and get all the terms and the date and everything, purchase price, everything that you need in a simple contract. I opened title with my attorney, and he calls me back and says, yo, Marvel, love this property. It's clean, but it turns out it's actually 28 acres. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? Do I have to disclose that to the seller? Do I have to call them and update them? He said, no, not if you don't want. Just I wanted you to know that you're actually buying 28 acres for $110,000, not 15 acres. And I was like, well, okay, sweet. I think that's a good deal. So what happened was that night, I was still drinking at the time. I don't drink anymore, but I was drinking at the time. My buddy and I, we really like to just go get 2 sheets to the wind and go fishing under the stars, because we had kids. I say 2 sheets to the wind. That's like 1 or 2 drinks, because I'm old. You can tell I got dad bod. So, you know, alcohol, it was a problem. 1 or 2 drinks, I'd be like, oh, yeah. You know, probably, most of you are probably between 25 and 35, so you start to get old. You're kind of in that weird, anyways, all right. So I was going fishing with my buddy under the moon and stars. We were like in a really cool boat, and we were just going over across the lake to our other buddy's house, who was having a birthday party for his son, and he was from the area. So we went out and we're under the full moon and stars, and we're just talking. There's 3 of us on the boat, and he was asking me, what do you do, man? And I was like, you know, I'm a professional photographer, cinematographer, and I'm kind of getting into the space of land. And he said, oh, that's interesting. I'm actually looking for land out here. What kind of deals do you do? He kind of asked me a little bit about what we're trying to accomplish, and I said, well, really new, so I don't know what to say, but I figured out that I've got some land out here in Leesville or Gilbert, and it's about, you know, 15, 20 acres. This was before I knew that it was 28 acres. I thought it was just still 15. I said, I have it under contract at $110,000. And homeboy said, I kid you not, he said, I will give you $300,000 for that property today. I was like, no way, dude, you can't be real. So we got each other's numbers, and I was like, I'll show it to you later this week. We'll talk about it and see if you're serious. On the boat ride home, my buddy who had taken me fishing was like, that guy's big money. He's serious. He comes from commercial construction. He's got a lot of he's got a cement company. He's got real money. If he says he'll do something, he will. I said, okay, so I want to really form a solid relationship with this guy. I want to give him a home run of a deal. So that he's like, I want to buy from this guy over and over and over again. Because like I mentioned, a lot of people who own property, they want more than just one property. They want to collect land. So he was a super easy dude, super easy to work with. I found it was 28 acres. And I said, look, I want to close in like a week or two because my seller, the son-in-law of the seller, they were going to Italy and Europe and everything, and they just didn't want to deal with this. So they kind of put the pressure of time into the situation. I told my buyer, look, it's 28 acres. I got like plenty of wiggle room. You know I'm going to be able to get paid here. But let's see if we can come up with a number that works for both of us. So we came up with a $155,000 purchase price. And like I said, this property was worth every bit of $250,000, $300K. So really it was the best way for me to give this now buddy, who's a friend, I was able to give him $70,000, $80,000 in equity. Like that's, when he bought this property from me for $150,000, he really got probably, what, 80, 90 grand in his pocket just in equity. He's just sitting on a piece of land that is already worth more than he purchased it by, substantially. So it was a great way to form a really solid relationship. And then I was like, okay, how am I going to fund this $110,000 purchase? Because not everybody has $110,000 in their pocket. I certainly didn't at the time. So I was like, what am I going to do here? And I put a post up like, hey, I need a little bit of money for about a day. And my good buddy Nick, who had bought land from me before, really awesome piece up in Virginia, he called me and was like, hey, dude, I actually have money sitting in my IRA that I need to put to work. It's just sitting on the sidelines, and it sounds like you got a great deal. So he came in, he bought this, he wired the funds to the attorney, bought it for $110,000. We then sold it literally later in the day for $155,000, and then there was a $45,000 spread, and we said, well, let's pay Nick $5K. So we gave him $5K for letting us borrow the $110K for about a 24-hour period, and then we got, I think after everything was said and done, we like to pay our attorney and then some other people, so it came out to like $39,000. Not a bad spread. That's the average. 39 to 35,000 is our spread for this type of deal. It's kind of the average, what we can expect. But the best thing about this deal was that I was able to give homeboy, who I had just met, about $80,000 to $90,000 in equity just for being a buyer. So when I talked about building a buyer's list, this is probably the best way to do it. Really overserve. Don't be greedy. Just be really stoked that you're in this business and understand the opportunity that you have to truly bless other people. Seller, Grandma Susie, buyer, joiner, you know who you are. The buyers, like, they are the ones that win when they're truly buying, and they know that, so they want to be on your buyer's list. Anyways, I hope that you guys have had fun and gotten some value out of this masterclass. If you have questions or topics that you'd like me to discuss and kind of cover, feel free to drop them in the comments. Check out all the accompanying PDFs. Join the community. Be a go-giver. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Come to my meetups too. We'll have some fun. That's it. All right. I'm done.